Fort TV. Stay entertained.
A very good morning. Once again, I welcome you back from that short breather. We are back with our topic of discussion from now up to the hour of 10. What you have to do, go on Afro Mobile, go on our Facebook account, go on our YouTube channel and all other social communication apps. You can also listen to us only on Fort Radio. You can also download the app. As I told you earlier, we shall be joined by a philosopher, an administrator, a priest, and a senior citizen of this country. That is none other than Father Charles Oyo, our very own kugamtuya kino ekyatono. Naza kuwa natugambira habwaki ya petitioning the sovereignty, the protection of the sovereignty bill. And yesterday he was before the legal committee of the parliament to justify why he continues to petition. Without wasting time, let me welcome him and give him a chance to introduce himself to you. Then we go direct into our topic of discussion. Amut, you're most welcome.
Yes, thank you very much, Robert. I am Father Charles Oyo. First of all, I would like to talk about myself so that the audience come to the appreciation where I'm coming from. Sometimes when we talk, they think you are just only religious leaders. Yes, I am a priest of the Catholic Diocese of Fort Portal. That's number one. But essentially, before I even become a priest or any other thing, I am a citizen. So that means when they talk about the sovereignty, that they are trying to describe that my right of birth, that is here that I am a citizen. And number two is not only that I am a citizen, but I'm also an academician. I have gotten a chance or the privilege of taking a lot of engagement in academic world. I have a degree in philosophy, I have a degree in theology, I have a master's degree in theology, I have a master's degree in public administration and management, and I'm a specialist in human resource management. But at the same time, right now I am a scholar, a PhD scholar of governance and peace studies. And my area of interest is corporate governance. So that's where I'm coming from. So, and right now, I'm a senior consultant at Uganda Matters University Fort Portal campus. So I am very happy that you have invited me to be here, and it's my pleasure that our listeners can learn something, but also can also support our cause for the citizenry patriotism, not the one they teach in class, but the one which we live. That's what we are.
It's a pleasure having you here, sir. Why did you petition? You are among a few religious leaders from this region, if not mistaken, the whole country, who stood up and said, no, I have to petition the sovereignty bill. But before we go to why you petitioned it, maybe for the purposes of our viewers to understand, in a simple language, in a layman's language, what is the sovereignty, the protection of sovereignty bill that we are talking about?
The protection of sovereignty bill is, we call it, let me first just talk about it one by one. First of all, when you talk of sovereignty, what do we mean? So sovereignty in any case is that endowment of an individual wherever you are. And by construct, the duty is a duty or the duty of the superior. The duty of the superior or authority to safeguard the rights, that's number one. Legitimacy, that's number two. And the interest of the community, of the subject. So when you talk about sovereignty, we are looking about that there is a superior, someone who has the responsibility to protect or with authority to safeguard the rights and the legitimacy and of a community or a people. But sovereignty, which is called supreme, so we are looking at saying supreme, independent authority. These are three important things. We have supreme, independent authority. And that's why when, as we talk, we are going to get into other elements where we are going to say, what is supreme? Who has the supremacy? What is authority? Who has the authority? What is independence? Who has the independence? So that will help us. But now this bill, a bill, for example, is a proposed law. A proposed law which is presented before the parliament. That's it. So a proposed law which is proposed before the government. It's a kind of a form of declaration. It's a declaration of fundamental rights of protection. So right now, the government is taking its prerogative of safeguarding its people, its integrity, its legitimacy, and so they are proposing a law which will keep. And this is what we call the protection of the sovereignty law. Yes.
That's what he has given us a hint, and he has explained what it is in its simplicity. Why do you come out to petition this proposed law?
Yeah, first of all, why do I come to petition? If it is a bill, as I have said, if the government is taking its prerogative to safeguard its people and its territory, why am I getting interested?
Why?
That becomes a very intriguing question. Why am I getting interested? First of all, I'm getting interested based on the following factors. First, as a citizen, the government, I know that the government that is in place is a democratic government. So we are in a republic where the sovereignty which they are talking about is granted by the Constitution of Uganda. That I, as a citizen of Uganda, one, I have the right to elect the leaders. And electing the leaders means what? When we're electing the leaders, it means that we are delegating part of our rights and authority to an institution. And this institution is a trustee. So once you are a trustee, your responsibility is not to override. You are a caretaker. So I know that a caretaker, but now the bill seems to be robbing those who entrusted the government to taking care of them. Now the government is saying, you know what, I am the one.
Take care of you,
and I can decide everything. So that's one. Number two, I have also the right of referenda. So in other words, if there is anything that is very important, I have a right to participate in the referendum for very important aspects, which right has now being squeezed. But thirdly, I have a right of civil participation, that I am able to participate as a citizen in affairs of this country which are very pertinent. And especially something that encompasses a broader perspective. One, the big society. Two, the local governments. So this requires that I also become a party. So now I am petitioning because our voices right away were not listened. For example, this bill comes in early April. After 2 weeks, it's already being read for the first time.
For the first time.
And yet, there is a window. If there is any bill, or there is any bill which is presented before the parliament, is supposed to be given scrutiny. And there is a window for 45 days, especially when the bill affects a greater number of the population and the institution. But now the rushing so fast to overshadow the 45 days window. 14. That 14, that becomes a suspect. Indeed, the Speaker of Parliament has a right. He can say, you know what, I can see there is an emergency. And if there is an emergency, that means there is a cause for urgency. And if there is an urgency, therefore, the bill can run within the short time. But now there is no urgency.
And there's no emergency.
And there is no emergency. So why are we running? But besides that, the current parliament is...
maybe, shortly, where do you best say that there's no emergency in the country? Maybe the government, through its security agency, has detected something.
So, if it has detected something, then there is need for transparency. You don't have to tell me everything, but they state it. So what is that? Why do you think that I'm not responsible? I cannot know the emergency. You sit down and create the emergency and you think there is emergency. So I, as an academician, I am evidence-based individual. So there must be evidence. So be transparent. So transparency requires that the government engages the community and let us know. There is no, what are they hiding? So if it's not there, then I'm not a party. If I'm not a party as someone who has given you the trustship, then I have to come up and give my view.
Okay, because people were asking themselves, and I also want to pose the same question to you. And let us now use our language. Omuntu ahera kutura tetegereze. Ekiragiro kino speed kizire ovuga kibalize mu Bungereza. Bitatara omuntu wange wa kiyombya owa buhesi. Ekiragiro kino we kusoko mutabanuza kitaka. Kandi speed kigenderaho esoko malire leti hanga bintu keba tabaniza.
Ekyo kubanza ngo kusangire ngambire ekiragiro kino kiragiro kyakwire kiragiro kirombe. Habakuba government ino obujunanizibwa mulimo gwayo korora ngu yataho oburyo korora twatahirirwa ombugabe bwaitu n'ombomezi bwaitu na mbere tuli ekyakwekite na nsonga ekyakabiri government ino obujunanizibwa korora netangira y'ebintu byakwene bitusisa erundi nibisisa obwomezi bwaitu n'obugabe bwaitu baitu ekisibwe kiro niyo speed ekyokubanza government wekuba nereta ekintu ekitekerezo kikuru muno ekigenda kukanurwaho mu parliament hariho oburyo tibikwa nibingana size hariho ebitekerezo ebimu ebakubalesere rundi bills ezokubalesere eziri kwanguha hariho bill ezigenda nzikwataho abantu bengi muno hati kino ekanure kibalese ekibakwenda ikiragira kugenda kukora nikikwataho abantu bengi buli muntu wena and by the way nikikwataho na mukaka nikikwataho na buli muntu wena namberale nabwe kino kikana kyetaga obwire parlamenti hariho obwire obubageha obusemerire kusanga kiragiro nkakino kigenda koro kumara ebiro 45 nibajya nibakisoma omundu gwo kubanza nibakeha ebiro 45 nuko nibekaguzaho abantu okumara kwekaguzaho abantu ikiragiro kino nibakigara kisoma omundu ogundi baitate kiragiro kizire omukwezi kwa kara nukutandika 15 on floor parliament alima ya wiki ibiri nibenda bakigaruwire nibenda kutaking another stage habwaki abantu batawekaguzaho hanyuma abasemyo kwekaguzaho abantu niba hata no nira abantu bakiro bwingi bekaguzaho abantu bakuyikara Kampala aho honga but tuli bantu bayingi we are many stakeholders abakirumu Speaker of Parliament nasobora kuchwama nagamba to kiragiro kino nikiyetagwa habwokuba hariho bwangu muno kako kitaba haro emergency
ensonga ya bwangu
esobora kuba
nyakutiri hanga butendebeke
butendebeke so speaker naso kuchwama nagamba nikine kiragiro kyangu bwangu habwokuba kwa kitanka wa insineshi ihanga ndokwa but hati yegi emergency teroho ekintu ekindi aba members of parliament abamu almost a half barugiremu bagenda abandi no kujayo tubakujayo so hati abaliyo buli muntu wena nakora kalitango habwake nibayirukira hati bayina wiki zinga bayina wiki ibiri zonka kurugamo hati nibenda wiki ibiri esigere zino basango bakulekeragiro kandi kiro kwata abantu now ekinsonga yokubanza baita songa ende enkuru muno wekaguza itwo ka abantu babulikiro ikagiro kino kikwata nyobu nagenzere ijo ngenzerege parliament natanga na committee ya parliament ya security natanga na committee ya parliament ya biragiro natanga na committee ya parliament ya defense yokwerinda kwihanga kandi mbere ngina ebitekerezo byange ekupoleka cyo kubanza naboleka kukolekera giro tikikizibu betekera mulingo okwenda kukikoramu mukyamu kandi gurumu okwakurizo obusobora kubonesa abantu bihanga leno kandi nanyo nyenka nko omuntu wabulikiro bukantalabaniza ero kubanza nikyo ekweta the definition of the subject hatito tubansoma oboina subject oboina object oboina intent. The subject is for whom this thing is being done. The object is that which is being done. And then the intent is the meaning it gives. Ngokugamba turaba ntugenda kukora ikintu kiona. Tubanza tugamba okay, ekitugenda kubazaho ni kya. Ngandi kubazaho Robert. Hata Robert na fokake subject. Hey. Ikya kabiri ntugenda kumbazaho ki. Ntugenda kumbazaho ki. Ntugenda kumbazaho ki. Robert yo ntugenda kumbazaho nguwo munyamakuru murungi. Hanyuma yake bukira maraku ntugamba hate tugiye kumbazaho bene bimanyisake. So here we have the subject, we have the object, and we have the intent. Kakube bintu bino bitakana na habaro ekizibu. Hato umuntu wekeragira kwenda kubazaho niwe Robert. Hata Robert wekeragira niwe sovereignty. Sovereignty. So the sovereignty is the subject matter right now. Ntugenda kubazaho sovereignty. Hati sovereignty gibazaho ntugibazaho ki. Ngwa ntugenda gibazaho kino na kino na kino. Bakareka tubana tugianjure sovereignty nikimanyisake. Kandi abantu umuntu utukubazaho what is the object. Hati the objectivized the members. Bagamba ntubazaho sovereignty baite kyo kubazaho ikikurungu abanyamahanga nibenda kututahira rundi batahana batutahira hati saa zino katsera umulingo guone tugenda tubarwanise tubayeho. That's not a very bad idea. Uburabe no muntu munyamahanga na rugahera na ija kutalibaniza no murwanise, and I think that's understandable. Right? Kakubo beno obohe inenju yao muntu akaja katera haruigiye kiro utamanyire to kumukingura. Hati kateka kamera nko muntu walijo murolekara oyete police, which is okay. But hata munyamahanga ogunoha hati kintu kintalibanize cyo kubanza. Bagamba munyamahanga okubanza ni umuntu uwakwikara Bulaya runda kwikara munsi yende atarazalirwa hano. Constitution yaitu nkukweriye nakyo nerenga kucyuleka ngo abo umuntu no munyamahanga ni umuntu walinka wali aheri
atazalirwa awahero
tali muntu wo munju. So tugamba Amerika banyamahanga ba Bulaya banyamahanga na
Kenya
banyamahanga, which is okay. A constitution yaitu gineko. So the constitution provides that space and that description. But hati kino kiragiro kumanya kiragiro kizibu muno hati kyasoroza abantu abandi bona kyabafora abanyamahanga. Bagamba ha umunyamahanga wa kabiri no ni wogo omuntu owazaliru hano mu Uganda kyonko wakwikara aheru ya Uganda na umunyamahanga. Eki akasatu omuntu oro umunyamahanga no umunyamahanga ogo muntu wen owarava aina enkoragana no muntu waheru. Ko gambo turaba twini somero kandi somero lino hari abantu waheru mu Amerika bali Bulaya bali Roma ne batkonyera ekyo kumanyisa bano nabo nayo hatu wafokake munyamahanga betukiriye kyonka ngo no borabola hano
ene koragana nabo
yakoragana kuonko giziri ubworabola hano nokora mu kitongole eki abantu abarugira hero bayijahana ekyo kororao ubworabola mu Uganda nokora mu embassy ya Uganda hata nayo nofokake munyamahanga okirozira ngo ikintu kigumanga ineke. So hate ubworabola ufoka mu nafoka munyamahanga nyo umuntu wazalirwa hano ubomezi bwange bwona nkulira hano obusobozi bwange constitution nebo ngo no ndaba mazira kuzalirwa hano ndi mutaka wa hano hata government kiragiro nikikuyihaho ubutaka okyamara kiko ubutaka nikimanyisa ki ngo umuntu wena gwarabana ijana kasomara kugamba ngo umunyamahanga no tanaka kumweralikira. So omuntu akwiha bugabe nkobu nabatakurinda. So hata soko ngambera ngo no lindo bugabe bwange no busobozi bwange bunyina kandi yo nonyeta munyamahanga hati yo bokunyeta munyamahanga atale munyamahanga no hanyime ekiri kukonereza ngo nangina nyowe for example kakuba mbande mu America nka twekera ngina nyowe sente rundi nkamuterera esimu nkabaza nawe ekyo kumayisa ngina nyowe nawe nafokake munyamahanga hati ekiragireke ikiragiro nkita wait. So in other words, what I'm saying, the definition, the ambiguity which is there in the definition of the foreigner is a very serious issue. And in fact, it is the first red light that we have. You cannot define, yes, you can define a foreigner as someone who is not born here, But now this law goes ahead to redefine the foreigner by destructuring the right of a citizen here, that you are no longer a citizen here because you are having a son who is working in America and is sending you money. If you are employed by an organization that is affiliated to the outside world, then you are a foreigner. So you are making me a foreigner, you are making my grandmother a foreigner, you are making my mother a foreigner, and then at the end of the day, who is not a foreigner? And by the way, what's very interesting, the government is going to be a foreigner too. So in other words, there is a situation, if we are going to follow the law, if this bill passes, so anyone who relates with someone from outside becomes a foreigner. Ideally, everyone is going to be a foreigner, including the government. Because, like, for example, governments gets a lot of support from abroad. For example, over 50% plus of the funds that are supporting the health sector in this country is the money from abroad. So making everyone here a foreigner for the sake is unfortunate. I was listening to the renowned lawyer, the Rakafuz, and he just said something that's very, he said, no, the government is responding with anger. And for that matter, it's not able to open the other boxes for logic and critical thinking. So at the end of the day, you are desensitizing, I can say, unoihaho omuntu obujunanizi bwawe n'obusobozi bwe na obusemeriye kuba nabwo hano ngonoenda kumukonyera hati yago tugale mazima. So that's very critical. Number two, okay, you remove the censorship. That's number one. Omwiheho obusobozi. But now, secondly, you are going to criminalize this person. You are criminalizing this person. Hati omuntu ono wakumwa bugabe no morora no gamba no mwechenchora omuntu ono asopa muzibu. So no gamba nyowe kakuba nkoragana no omuntu ogo ntabandiza kusaba orusa mu minister ninja kufubirwa ninsasura biliyoni yemo biliyoni 2 rundi rienda rundi ni male myaka 20
hagati 10 na 20
omunkomo. Really?
Kandi minister zino kusobozi nongaro kutwara mu cabinet.
Kutwara mu cabinet. So hatiegi akakwakulizo kazibu muno. Ngo nyowe nomfora mu muntu omubi. Kandi kutekereza ngo abantu abaheru nibatuletera hamwe ebintu ebibi byoma. Is uncalled for. It's not true. Habo kuba ntumanyire kimu, you said has been helping Minister of Education, has been helping Minister of Health, has been helping the government, the parliament itself, and the World Bank has been supporting us in different ways. So is Uganda going to live in isolation? It's not going to be in isolation. So by saying that you are declaring everybody else a foreigner and then you are not, you are having a problem because you are victimizing every other person. So I think ensonga ya kabiri. Ensonga ya kasatu. Niki kifubiro. Ngo muntu kakubata kole kintu ken. Inja kumufubira. Yagi ensonga nkuru muno. Yes, umuntu barabatahikize biragiro baina kumufubira. Bete biragiro bina ingana n'ensobi omuntu yakoze. There must be proportionate alignment of the law in its application. But for you to say that if I get money and I don't declare it, you are going to take me to prison and imprison me for 20 years because of that is really madness. It's madness in itself. They are giving examples that the Americans have the same law, the Australians have the same law, and others. And in America, there's what we call FAR. That is Foreign Agent Registration Act. But this law is different. For them, the law is not targeting the citizen. It's targeting those who are infiltrating, and it's very specified. And by the way, when you look even at the penalties for breaking the law, is 5 years. So if the penalty of breaking the law for the FAR, which is in America, is 5 years, for you, you are saying 20, how are you going to compare them? What is the standard? What is the standard? Based on what? Uburaba no gama ngwe kiragiro kintu kiri kia hano honka no munsi ezindi kiriyo no mu America kiriyo. Mu America kiriyo kiri kuhambya abantu abikazi bo mu America. Ekya kabiri mu America kiriyo ni kirenga kurora nkifunza abantu abakoleta obutabanguko omwihanga. Na itarika ko ekigagiro kizira kugamba yego tuterekeragiro kintu twenda kulinda we want to protect the sovereignty of the people against the strange people who are hurting this nation. It's okay, but it is including me. Aje mekufubire kyo mu America nibagamba myaka 5. Iyo hano gambo muntu limteka mu nkomo emyaka 20. That's capital punishment anyway. How many people are you going to put there? So ensonga ende nkuru y'abantu basemeriyo kwetegereza niko kugamba ngo minister ayino busobozi huwa kugamba iwe oli munyamahanga iwe toli na iwe omwana wazalirwa hano wakara mu America obora agenda esa bwerayeka no garuka hano ubanza no kora application minister na kwikiriza obora bakoli ugujya ku musiwensi. Can you believe that? The minister giving that kandi ekino bakikora tebakutaho kwakuliza obwona kuleka ngo minister kintu no bwara akikora na kakwata kikora parliament esemerire muhonde busaho review yona. So in other words, you are stripping the citizens of their citizenship and transferring it to the minister and giving him absolute power.
If I would ask you, having explained all that, as a philosopher, under what spirit is government bringing this bill? Because it came through the Ministry of Internal Affairs. It is a government bill.
Yeah, for me, first of all, as I said, the government has the responsibility to safeguard its citizens' integrity, legitimacy. That's number 2. Number 3, the government has the prerogative to make sure that it protects its nation against intruders.
And infiltrators.
That's ideal. That's the ideal. And every person can understand that. But the spirit under which this is being done is contradicting the very essence it's trying to protect. It's like you are washing your child, all right? And you are removing the dirt. Then after removing the dirt from the body of your child, now you are getting your child under the water and you are throwing it away. So the spirit is not the right spirit because the spirit is contrary to the very fact that they are trying to promote.
Is this bill not going to take, if it is passed anyway, are we not going to see some constitutional amendments?
But why do I haven't to go and talk about constitutional amendment? You see, it's if this bill passes, I cannot even start anticipating constitutional amendment because it is an abrogation. So if you have abrogated the constitution, then you cannot talk about amendment. What they are supposed to do with the amendment, but the way how the amendment is being fronted, it has now taken the form of abrogation by undermining the real essence of what the constitution is an abrogation. So now, how are you going to ask me about amendment? The amendment is now. And in order to amend, there must be genuine reasons why we should amend. So, and if that's the case, then for me, I would feel very disappointed. And I'm sure everyone is going to be disappointed.
The government is trying to fight the bad money that comes into the country.
What is bad money?
That is what they are saying.
Yes.
And when you look at page 7 of the bill, there's something about advocacy, policy advocacy. They say there's some money that comes into the country and they end up doing some wrong things.
I wish they had the audacity to deal with some money which is being taken by individuals who are here. They would rather get more concerned about corruption than concerned about the money which is coming here. Because the money that is causing this nation to get in very, very serious situation and making it vulnerable is the money that is being robbed through corruption. So that would be, for example, something that the government should be concerned about. Yes, I'm not saying there is no money which is coming here through what we call covert way that is not known. I'm not saying that. But the way how we are handling, we are not saying there should not be a law to protect the integrity of financial transaction, but the how. Now, let me tell you. Right now, as we start, there are eight legislations that are in place. And one of them, for example, we have the anti-money laundering law.
Act, yeah.
Yes. Where, which is very clear, that customer due diligence, suspicion transaction, reporting, and records all the financial flows, including the foreign source. So what is this law for? If there is a need for money, that's one legislation. And it is in place. So if you want to bring another one, which is similar to that, you must convince us that this law has a gap. Tell us the gap. So, but if we have a law of anti-money laundering and you are not complaining, so why are you telling us that you have another law? That's number one. We have NGO amendment law of 2024. Tuine kiragiro kindi ekikwata NGO ebitongole bitali bya government ekyakozerwe omwaka gw'2024. And this law includes the following aspects. One is the registration of the NGO, monitoring the activities, inspecting their annual reports, suspension if it does not respect the law or it breaks the law, but also revoking the NGO certificate or permit. And it has been used, for example, it's already used to suspend 9 NGO in January 2025 that were not following the regulations according to the law. So if you think that there are people who are coming through the NGOs and they are going to threaten the security and they are undermining the sovereignty of the people here, what's wrong with that law? Why can't you tell us, no, the law, this NGO Amendment Act of 2024 has a gap here, and now we want to do otherwise. So abwako tatugambira ngo ekiragiro kineke kwataho ebitongole bitali bya government ekibatero byazibwa account abakubye ekiragiro kino kirumu ngo ekitongole kina kwehandix hanyuma abantu abakujunanizibwa baina kimonetaringa kukigena mbakondeze mbarura ngo ikintu kino kikole ekitongole kikole mu gwacyo ekiyakasatu baina kwikara ne barura report zacyo ne bakoraki sente nabaziha nibazikozesaki abantu nzibakozesaki ekyekeragiro kiro hanyuma kakuba abaho ngo uburyo ngo ekitongole kino kiyambisibwa abantu abandi abatali barungi, and by the way not just foreigners nekitwenka abantu n'abanyayuganda bali hano. So ekitongole kino kisobora kukingwaho rundi certificate yake rundi kandike kibakaire kukikiriza gukora nibasobora kukihaho
n'obusobozi n'ogumizamu kola mu mwihanga. Kandi already mu January mkwezi kukubanza paka kinga NGO mwenda actually kuruga 2021 to 2026 ebitongole bitali ya government kukinga komba 13 bikingira mu mwihanga.
Very good. So hati ekiragiro kikora hati tugambire tekiragiro kino kiroho ngo abantu baso kwijana abanyamahanga ne barabahana bakole ikintu kino ekiragiro kino tikiri gukora umurimo gwaje gukisemerire hati ntsuende ekiragiro kindi rundi twende kiragiro kino tukigarukemo tucyongere mwaka kwa kulizo we can review this and make amendment which is acceptable. Ekiragiro kyakasaba is the Anti-Terrorism Act of 2002. Ekiragiro kino ekikwataho abantu abatuju kutaha mwihanga kiroho already kandi kiragiro kino ikino kwa kulizo buno akwa kulizo ko kubanza ngo korora ngo nibaha abantu abakusagika abatuju or terrorism akwakuliza akabiri ngo abantu bano barabaroho asset zabo ntisobora kuzikora kuzitwara nka government rundi tugende tukora investigation. So in other words, the Anti-Terrorism Act of 2002 has the following components. One is concerning the terrorism financing, asset freezing, investigations of suspicion, and execution of those people who are found.
The Anti-Terrorism Act bike binyakiruma bokuba omuntu akuturora naso kwekaguza habwake bagiro bintu byona byatirweho kwa kulinda ihanga hati nturora ariyo kindi ekikwije maybe kusobora kuturora Dr. Charles, are all these acts going to be embodied within the sovereignty bill?
Yes, so hata kikaguzo kibere kidi utakanto iroko bin bena kubitekana that is we call what it is, maybe it is hidden somewhere, but according to this bill this is not mentioned anywhere. Busa hona kigambira ngo biragiro bintu biteka hamwe nico korora ito abamuntu etomboito ngo baraba arekera ekya constitution arekera giro ekya bitongole arekera giro ekikwata abatuju arekera giro ekya abantu bakutwara sente mulingo gutasemerire arekera giro ekya political parties.
Actually ngonza orabimwe kintu kabuko abantu abengi for you've come with a different angle of interpreting this bill, but most people are touching it to be a political motivated. I wish you can take our viewers through the Political Parties Act 2005. What does it talk about? No kujetegereza iso muntu.
Hata abantu abengi muno omagiro bakubaho obutiyini. Bakubaho obutiyini. Bakakusanga emerira hata bundi bantorora nka kora some skits. Kakuba nkanyonko hunda haba. Kakuba onkanga inja kuhinduka omundu gumunzingire ntomi. The first thing is not to run. Is to defend myself.
To defend yourself.
But kakuba okanga omukaikuru. Psychologically na abanza kusera hokoraki. Hokugwa. You see? Kakuba okanga enkerembe. Kuchura no kwiruka
defense
defense hata na abantu abandi hari abantu abandi birene wizi bagyanukwire with emotions. They are emotionally charged, and unfortunately when you are emotionally charged you are rationally lowered. Obokuba bintu bokitekamo abantu bahate bagamba ekintu bokitekamo feelings kakingurana muno obongo bwaho nabone bukora no giving away no have feelings banskora but feeling is wow abantu abandi bakitero political it is political and they are saying no bakachikura nanka. It could also be true, but they must have evidence. Nyobi nebintu byone bintu kubaza hano I have evidence and I will leave it with you so that tomorrow when someone quotes me I'll say that. Now, at this time, the issue is the bill. Someone has to convince me that this bill is political. The government has not said it is political. So in order for someone to say it is political, before I even go there to see it is political, I must also get the evidence that tells me that this thing is political. But I'm not denying the fact that it is political. Now, the Political Party Act of 2005 has the following components that are very important. One is the regulation of party financing. That's number one. So if you are getting scared that some people are giving money to for example, the opposition and the other actors or the activists, the Human Rights Commission and so forth, but already there is a law. That law has structures and components and the content to regulate for political financing. Two, it restricts the foreign contribution to political party activities. All these are provided in the law. so baraba notina ngo bano abantu nibajya kwijja kwa opposition center nibajya kwa abantu abandi abatakwikirenze na government ekiragiro kiroho hata bukira bakiroho habwake no sirake so no rwakafuzi nyenchakara na bani muliza TV abe nagamba government so kubina ekintu ekiensta ekita kwenda kutugambira ekiyokora hatito nicho kuna kubakaguza mutugambire ekintu ekimkwenda gukora kiyake kandi nikya
kandi kitabanza kito munya Uganda hati eki
nje kintu ekikuru muno ndeka maze nkoleka ebiragiro ebindi biro ebiragiro ebindi biro we have Computer Use Act runde kiragiro ekirikwataho abantu abakozesa computer kubi ekyakozerwe 2011 so Computer Use the Misuse Act of 2021 criminalizes publication of false or malicious information through electronic media. So kino ekiragiro kiro nikikwata nga abantu abamupulizigana ubaraba bahandike ebintu mu computer zino zezire mu byuma bya kalemagezi ne bahandike ebintu ebitahikire abantu bano baina korwa ne kiragiro parliament yakachikora kiroho baita hate no gamba kiro kino ngu oburaba no genda kubazaho ekintu kiona ekirukwataho government ekirukwataho police ya government if you are going to talk about anything that in relation to the government policy in relation to government act even the bill you have to go to the minister to be granted permission to come and do it in any case even our conversation here which means after this bill if I were to come here you would have to apply to host me. So the minister will say, okay, what is he coming to say? What's the content?
What is the script of the program?
What is the script of the program? So now, either I won't come there. Ichokumaisa ngunyo kujja kubaza hano. Ngebindi kubaza bino. Kino kiragiro kala mara kubaho. Ngina kubanza ni ntungorusa. Nikisana ko muntu kugamba waraba no genda kumbazaho. Ubanza ije onsabek. Onsaborus. Hati no waneno sana ngarohanga. Otagenda ito bakatwegesa tuba maka gate ngo turantagenda kuliya tubanza tusaba turantagenda tumana kuliya tusimu hati nikizoka government naenda kufora minister nkarohanga uruhanga kumusanza nkarohanga demigod that ubundaba ningenda kuliya ninkusabake ninsaba urusa ubundaba ni mara kuliya ninkusimu that's not going to happen so government buralete kintu ekiso bugabe bw'abantu nyonka genda kukayo gamba government kintu kakitahikiri nimaza kusaba urusa minister neja kuchwamu uruso rwarumpe ndatarumpa but government programs kako abo government program izire kandi program again bagitwa ni bagraninga kuba a program is not running according to the benefit of the community or it's undermining the community na it is over kubaza
they are saying you're supposed to complain to the government
what is the government
but you are now supposed to inform the authority.
The authority. No. It's not. This is very serious. It's not about informing. It's about asking for permission, and he will decide whether you should go ahead and talk about it, or if it is the ministry that is doing something that is not appealing the community, and I'm going to talk about it. Will I have to go and ask for permission?
There's a clause I want us to first have here. On page 7, B, C, and D, I want us to analyze it and help our viewer out there critically. Produce is getting it for us. Because we are seeing there's sabotage and the policy governance in the country. Now if we go to the policy governance, where is it going to live on? Because now you're restricting me. Ndabanta in amazing baba mkekuyo mulikondo gwanyi or good or kozero. Produce is getting for us that nikija kusigaga ihanga lino. Where is it living this country? Obturagena haliye. Kuja kurora hati byaza kuhakana na n'ubwabo bwahira uruhanga, freedom of speech, freedom of n'ebintu bitari bimwe na bimwe. How is it going to affect Ugandans?
You see, in policy management. That, for example, when people are making policies, what are the processes that precede these policies? What are the processes? So the first process is that you identify, that I said, you identify the need, right? Now, after identifying the need, you make analysis. You see where is this coming from, what it is doing, how is it going to affect the people, what are the remedies that you have. You make consultation, and then you are able to do something. Now, people are talking sabotage. What is sabotage? That's number one. Number two, who is the sabotager? The saboteur, in other words. Who is the saboteur? Who is that person that you are looking at, that this person is sabotaging the government? It is not true that all the saboteurs are coming from
the foreign,
foreigners. But of course, according to this bill, if you have made anyone who here a citizen, a foreigner, so you can say that. But it is not true. It's not factual. And I'll need to be convinced that there is the only saboteurs we have are foreigners. Many of them are here. There are so many saboteurs in our homes, they are there. In our institutions where we come from, even in the church, they are there. In the government, they are there. In the civil societies, they are there. In parastatals, they are there. In corporate bodies, they are there. That's nature. There are going to be always the diversionary characters that are there. We are not the one who created them. Moreover, even before all of us who are in the world today were created, the saboteurs were there. Even in heaven. You know, even in heaven, the saboteurs were there. And by the way, even the saboteurs in heaven were not strangers. Abantu abarukwija hano bakatataha ihanga ryaitu kulisisa tibale bantu abayatandika kirokeno. Iti tuwana abantu abali munsi tukajja kuzaro tukabasangaho. No mahagaitu betukara. Baliyo naho. No maklezia no makanisa gaitu naho baliyo abantu abakujja bakenda kusiso sise usinge bwa abantu abandi. No mwiguru baliyo. Abamalaika bajemire ruhanga. We are not born from another planet. Katikisimu etwegesa ngaliyo bamalaika abajemire ruhanga. Baita bamalaika bajemire ruhanga bakaba wekara nawo. Yesu omuntu wamugobize bakaba bakoza hamu kibindi kimu. So abali abayidaya bali batere toko. Baita yamugobize no. Yuda bakana bakoza hamu kibindi kimu. Sabotuwaza abandi baturukutekereza bali no mu government nabo bali mu kibindi. Ne bakoza mu kibindi kimu na government. You see that? So in other words, kugamba ngo bana abantu nbeje the saboteurs are coming to sabotage. Yes, it is a fact it's a reality. The saboteurs are there. We know they are there, but the laws are already providing for them. For me, in order to convince me that this bill is really necessary, you have to begin not from what you think. You have to begin from the ground. For me, as an academician, when I'm doing research, or when I was doing my PhD thesis, I was asked the question, what is the problem? So we are asking the government, what's the problem? And if you are saying the problem is the problem which has been there, has this, after identifying the problem, then we ask, say, how is this problem affecting the citizen? And then after asking, you say, to what extent? Then you provide bueno. Right, and then lastly, the question that enabled me to go and do my thesis or my research was, what is the gap? We need the government to be very clear on this and articulate what is the gap. Yes, yeah, what is the gap? In fact, the failure of the government right now in this bill is that the gap has failed to tell us what is the gap. Because, yeah, that's it. Because we know there are all the regulations that are there are sorting out all the articles they have provided in this bill. And we can't see the gap. Now we are asking what is the gap, but they want to put pressure to make sure they get what they have.
There's this question here. this one is saying, can you take us through the potential economic implications of this bill, especially for businesses and investors? Because to an so yesterday the governor was showing the country what we are likely to face if we pass this bill. What could be the implications of this bill, economic ways?
The Governor Bank of Uganda. Akugambire ngo ebyentasha byaitu mwihanga bino binamo obukwakulizo bwingi muno obutakubyankwira kubaha mulembe. So we have a very big deficit in our financial status of this country. Two, there is no country that is going to do monetary activities or in isolation. That country is not there. You know that even our currency here is rated according to the dollars and the euros. So which means if you do not have that flow of currencies with international community, then you're not going to have business. Right? You're not going to have business. So our exchange is not just about exchanging dollar and shillings, it is business. So if that is there, and the Governor Bank of Uganda was very clear. So if we are trying to limit or restrict that kind of flow of transaction, then we are going to deplete our own resources. So once we deplete our reserves, then we would be working against our own sovereignty because we are going to be weakened. Two, the businesses work in partnership. You know that the wealthiest people in this country, I don't know if you are one of them, they trade in stocks. You're not going to trade in stocks in your own currency. True. They trade in shares. Big companies, we have MTN, we have Coca-Cola, we have all other things, we have Amazon and so forth. Some of us are stakeholders there. How are you going to do that? Because you are incriminating your own partner. And so you are creating suspicion, you are creating mistrust, you are creating defense. And at the end of the day, who is going to lose? When they tell us, when you are small and you want to fight, you use your brain, not your strength, because they will strangle you. But now you are already undermining the partnership. Now, three, you are putting a bureaucracy that for any amount of money exceeding 400 million, by the way, 400 million is not big money here. For the poor people, yes. But for the average person, 400 million, you can spend it on a wedding party and it is done. It's not something much. So if you are saying that for any transaction that exceeds 400 million in 12 months, I have to go and seek permission from,
and also look at the source of
the money
and what is
all
going
that
to do.
So if the minister is going to do all those nitty-gritties when they are failing their own work even right now, how are you going to? So you are creating a bureaucracy. Now we are working in a very, very fast running environment, economy. Our economy here is running at a very terrific speed. You make one step, you know, Amakonde. Kakuba ntugenda maiso kumu enyuma. So hata government ije kusana kutoleka negamba hata utara ntugenda kora mbientasha no business tuzina Amakonde. Tureke kwiruka rili. Kandi abantu balaharili. Balaharili ni makwatakate na akahona. Hatiyo no gamba ngo enu biru nija kututwara kuzina Amakonde. Okuguru kumu maiso amaguru abiri enyuma oguru kuri mu maiso amaguru wako enyuma hade umuntu wena akubale mu office runde member of parliament akuba na atasokorole kintwe nyona banantinisa na banantinisa. It is very serious. So that's not going to happen. The kintwe kyakana, we are getting loans. We are getting loans from abroad. So if the bureaucracy is so hard, then the opportunities are going to bypass us.
Those are also prepared to take them away.
Yes, and the people who are ready to take the opportunities are there. You see, they are not going to wait for you to wake up and then go to the government and so forth. So it is very important that in as much as the government is interested in protecting its citizen and it's the sovereignty of its citizen. It's not just a sovereignty of the country, by the way. Because you may think that there is a sovereignty of the country, the sovereignty of the institutions, the sovereignty of the person. So the government has come out very clear. Which sovereignty are they talking about? And which sovereignty takes precedence? So the way we look at it, they are like saying the sovereignty of the country supersedes the sovereignty of the citizen. And yet they are getting their mandate of trustees from the citizen. Isn't that ridiculous? So we need a debate.
Why are you too harsh on this bill? You seem to be very harsh and angry on this bill. Yet there are other people are saying, no, this bill is going to protect the country and we are going to be more safer because we shall not see the influence of the foreigners into the governance of this country.
When did the foreigners not govern us? If I were to ask you, when did they not govern us? We are running on their bills. We are running on their bills. How many trillions of debts do we have right now? How many times have we been, the developing countries, have been forgiven of the debt burdens? The debt burdens. So why are we pretending? You are my neighbor. We are working together. I am not going to be you, and you are not going to be me. Yes. So there is no way you are going to be me and I'm going to be you. But we must find a way how we are going to work together. Exploit the opportunities that we have. And if we are fighting terrorism, right? If we are fighting terrorism, terrorism is not a Uganda issue. It's not a Uganda issue. It affects the whole world. So you mean you want to do it alone, your own way? That is utopia. If you are talking about money laundering, are you telling me money laundering is a Ugandan issue? If you are doing that, then you have a problem. Money laundering is not a Uganda issue.
We are fighting an ethical habit that may come in, like homosexuals and so on.
Yeah, even those are not Uganda issues. They are world issues. The Holy Father is talking about them. The sheikhs are talking about them. The civil societies are talking about them. So you cannot personalize it. You cannot personalize it. We have to work together. We are in a global world. We are not in a village anymore. You're not the village anymore. So you are not going to, you talk about the media. People have been promoting those values through the media. How much do you control of the media? How much? So you are going to cut everything because of this. So we must be logical. If we are saying that we have these values that are eroding our own values in our time today, there is a law provided here. If there is a law, why can't we use this law? If there is no law, then say, okay, can we either review this law, but we can't have duplicity of laws under the gaze of controlling the interference of foreigners. And again, by the way, what is that people are looking at infiltrating us that has never existed here before? Since the beginning of the Bible. Tell me one thing that you know. This thing had never been in the nature of anyone. And it is new.
That has never happened.
It has never happened. Our grandparents knew how to deal with the issues of morality and everything. So in other words, we are saying, yes, if you have a problem and you have identified it, tell us the gap. But if you have laws that are able to handle this, last time they had the anti-homosexual bill and it passed and it is here. What is lacking in it that now after just 3 years you want to get another one? So the government, my niche is the government must be bold and smart and tell us that in the existing legal framework we have this gap.
As someone who petitioned this and someone who can foresee what is likely to come, what could be the intention of the government, of the cabinet, to present this sovereignty bill at at the time of elapse of the 11th Parliament?
It is very, very intriguing. As I said, for me, I'm an academician. And our principle is, for everything you say, avoid speculation. So I wouldn't, that's why when you read my petition, it might be unique. Because for me, I am talking based on the evidence that there is. I don't want to go into speculations. Because speculation will also make me like the very government that I'm challenging right now. They are speculating. These people are going.
You won't say the government is speculating with no evidence.
Yeah, that's right. That's when I'm very confident I can say it, because I don't see the evidence. I don't see the evidence. If there is evidence, then the speculations will so I don't want to speculate. I must have evidence. You are telling me, yes, this is what is happening. This is the evidence. So if you are telling us, or you wait to convince us, you say that there is a gap, well, give us evidence. And then we can enter into debate. So debate is not a speculation. And that's what even sometimes is causing trouble in our parliament. That there are a lot of speculations that come up around. You have to read. So for me to come here to speak with you, I am not reading notes. I'm not reading notes. So I knew there's a task. I had to take this as my right to express myself. That's number one. But I had to read the bill. I had to sit down and write with my pen. I had to make consultation with the existing legal framework. I had to make consultations with other legal experts. And I wrote a petition, which I'm going to share with you. I've already shared with you.
I already have a copy.
Yes. I have also written an academic journal, which I'm sharing with the international world. So I'm not looking at this from this, but all of them that I'm writing, I must be in a position to defend my position based on.
If this bill is passed, if the government continues to consider this bill, what are your prayers? Some of the things that should be amended within this bill.
You know, I would also contradict myself. If deal is passed, what should be what prayer do I have? If this bill is passed, it will be a disaster. Period. It will be a disaster. If this bill is passed, it will be a disaster. And some people are talking about it's the bill in its form. We are not talking about the form. You don't go to the form. You begin with the subject. If the fundamental principle for any law is that this law should promote the welfare of the intended persons. Now, if the law portrays right away from its inception the characteristics of undermining the very person the law is intended to protect, then I cannot even start thinking about if it is passed. If it is passed, it's going to be a disaster. It will be unfair. Yesterday, when I was meeting the parliamentary committee on legal affairs, defense and security, someone asked me, you have proposed the one way that the MPs of the Rwenzori region should oppose the bill. And then he said, if they don't oppose the bill,
and they support it,
and no, they may not support it. It's like what
they keep quiet.
It's like what Desmond Tutu said. If you would choose to keep silent to injustice, you are the supporter of the oppressor. So I told them, and then they asked me, will you forgive them? I said, it will depend. But I said, even when forgiveness comes later, they will be answerable. And they know. Because you cannot keep quiet. We need those voices here. Even here, we need those voices. And by the way, even those who have just been elected in office, you cannot say, no, I'm waiting until I'm swearing it. Here, this is not an issue of politics. So you don't need to go to parliament to enlighten the people. So here I'm doing a civic advocacy. anyone should do it.
That is also restricted in the bill. That is also restricted in the bill.
That's now they want to deny me.
It is restricted in the bill. On page 7, I think, advocacy. They should know what you're going to talk about.
Yes. And who should know? Who should know?
People with authority.
Who has authority? Now, by the way, that's where even we find difficulty even defending our own rights. Who has authority? Recently, I was just talking with someone and they had the challenges. Another person said, you know, you must be humble. I asked him, what is humility? What is humility? Humility is not succumbing. And obeying the law is not succumbing to the oppressor's dreams. No, that's not going to happen. And I will do this not only here, I'll do it even in the church when it comes. I'll do it in the public. I'll do it in my home. Everywhere I have the opportunity. And I understand there are consequences. There are consequences.
Are you prepared for the consequences of
Otherwise, I won't be
of advocacy?
Otherwise, I won't be here. So who has authority? When some people get drunk with authority, and by the way, in most every institution, power, they say power corrupts. Some people will get drunk because of authority. And I think because they're in power, but they are not going to be there eternally. You're not going to be there. And I want to tell you, for me, and now I'm getting 60 years of age. In the next 15 years, I will be done. I'll be done. But another generation will come. So I think it is important at this time, first of all, to look at the government, not with anger. Yes, they may be writing a letter 6. If I get a pen and write letter 6, if you are standing at the other end, you read what?
9.
9. If I am standing at this end, I will read 6. Say, who is wrong? Maybe some of the people who are raising these issues, I'm not saying they are, but maybe they may be having a problem. That's number one. But they may not be also, they may be lacking the capacity. You see, it's not enough to have an office and it's not enough to do what you're supposed to do. They may have a problem. Number 2, they may also have a deficit. But number 3, they may also be the very enemies. You know, there is what we call doing the devil's advocate. Maybe some of them are devil's advocate. I don't know. But this is what we get from our everyday experience. My point goes back, first, that the government should do any other thing, but should not undermine the sovereignty of its citizens. The sovereignty requires us to understand that I am here a citizen by birth. That's it.
Have you rights.
I have my rights, and the basic which concern the sovereignty. I can elect members. I can be engaged in referendum. I can be engaged in civil participation.
By the look of the things, this bill may not go into referendum.
It is possible. And that's why, for me, I don't want to go to whether it will go or not. I want to do my role. The government has its role. But for me, as a citizen, I want to make a contribution, do my role. And my role is to come out, 1, make sure that I make the community around me understand the danger of taking this bill as it is. Number 2, also to inspire other people who can speak. So, you know, some people have been asking, we're not hearing the church, we're not hearing the what? It does not necessarily need the big, the institutions. The first institution is you. The first institution in you.
As we come to a conclusion of the show, should we say Dr. Charles is here on behalf of the church or as an individual?
As I told you from the beginning, for me, I am essentially, and I want to repeat this, I am essentially a citizen of this country. The Constitution, the first article of the Constitution does not talk about the church. It talks about the citizen and aligns sovereignty with citizenship. It is by default that I happen to be a priest, which already gives me also in other capabilities because I've been trained. I'm able to understand these concepts. Number 3, I'm also an academician, and this is where I am. I am teaching students. In fact, one of the lessons that I teach at the university is logic and critical thinking. So I'm teaching the students that if there is a need, we have to engage into finding solutions. So I am finding a solution as an academician at the same time. So I'm also a Rotarian. For me as a Rotarian, our motto is service above self. And most of the works we do is advocacy. We stand to help those who are in need. We do a civic education. We support the vulnerable people to stand up. We have supported the Ministry of Health, for example. The money you see doing the cancer run, the money you see doing the polio, all this money, there is a coin of a Rotarian in the whole world.
In your conclusion, sir, because I'm seeing time is not our best friend, we wrap up the show.
So for me, first of all, I would like to thank you so much. Thank you for allowing me to come here and express myself. Number 1. Number 2, I would like also to appeal to every person, get concerned. When there is something that is going to affect you, get concerned. Even my mother should get concerned. Number 3, I'm also urging the academicians. This is why we are academicians. This is why we go to school. Let's read. Let's read. Read the article. Also, do make a contribution. For us in Rotary, there is what we call classification. So now for me, I'm defending my classification. I have been to school. I've been able to read. If I didn't go to school, I wouldn't write this article. And I've written it.
Interpret.
Yes, interpret it. I have written it. Then number 3, let's do our civic role. So yesterday I had an opportunity to meet with the giants in the parliament. You see, I was telling the clerk at parliament yesterday that my role here right now is to inspire impact for now, for tomorrow, and for generations to come. Even if this bill does not passes against our will, someone else will go to the script. I'm telling you what you are doing here, this is not going to die. Right now, the whole world is watching. You see, this is not going to die. So, and then something else I would like to ask every individual. No, advocacy is not about groups. It's about intention, consistency, and purpose. Even if you are an individual, your voice is very important. When I was petitioning, I petitioned the speaker, I petitioned the deputy speaker, I mean the speaker, I petitioned these parliamentary committees, I petitioned the clerk at parliament, I petitioned the attorney general. I didn't know that this is what is going to come out. But since from the first time I submitted my petition and it went on the radio, it has gone viral.
It was a pleasure having you.
Thank you so much.
It was a pleasure having you.
And
look forward to keep on engaging you on other discussions. We are stopping here. Free Talk is coming in up next with Rosette. A very good morning.